Constitutional Conversations is a series of discussions by America's leading scholars about the principles, framing, ratification, and implementation of constitutional government in the United States. This series is hosted by the James Madison Memorial Fellowship Foundation of Alexandria, Virginia.
Act 3 of the drama turns to detailing the aspects of what they've just agreed to in principle. So if the principle is representation, we now turn to the matter of detailing, outlining the structure and the powers. And the main feature is the listing of the powers of Congress. Under the Articles of Confederation and the New Jersey Plan, Congress could only do those activities which were expressly, specifically stated. Under the Virginia Plan and the Hamilton Plan, Congress could do pretty much whatever it wanted as long as it said the states were incompetent to do it. Well, you have to have a compromise. If you're having an 88-day discussion among 55 people from different parts of the country. And so the most important part of the Committee on Detail outlining this first draft is the listing of the powers of Congress, which is somehow in between, and it's remained with us. Is the list now more like the Articles? You can only do those 18 things which are there? Or is this list sort of like an example of what Congress can do, but there's more that can be done through interpretation? Perhaps the most important items on that list are the power to tax, which everybody would agree to, even Sherman, because before that, the Union had to go and ask each state for money, and you never knew whether they would provide it. So the power to tax was granted, and the power to regulate interstate commerce. And some scholars find it fairly easy to interpret the Constitution as an economic document by looking at the wealth holdings of the framers. I see the Constitution as promoting a certain kind of economy, and that is an interstate economy. And that means a free trade area, like what the European Union did later on, and AFTA and the rest, those kinds of things. So that if you're engaged in business and commerce from Georgia to New Hampshire, you don't have to go through 10 or 11 different currencies, 10 or 11 different weights and measures. So that a main feature of the Committee of Detail report is not only giving power to tax to Congress, so that it can raise revenue to do the things that are itemized, but to generate an interstate commercial republic, which I think is extremely important. And also listed is that Congress has now the power to do all which is necessary and proper for putting into existence the aforementioned powers and all other powers in government. And that's the origin of the necessary and proper clause. So that, I think, is the most important part of the Committee on Detail. There are other aspects like talking about the presidency, talking about trying to set up the judiciary. But in my mind, that is the most important part of the Committee on Detail report.
Constitutional Conversations is made possible by a generous grant from the Fairleigh S. Dickinson Jr. Foundation. Constitutional Conversations is made possible by the James Madison Education Fund.